Parents, when did your kid completely throw you under the bus? My son Tyler was 8 years old when this happened, and I'm still recovering from the embarrassment 15 years later. It was back to school night at his elementary school. You know how these things go. Parents walk around to each classroom, meet the teachers, look at your kids' work on the walls. Pretty standard stuff. Tyler's teacher, Mrs. Wilson, seemed really nice. She was probably in her 50s, been teaching forever, had that warm, grandmotherly vibe that makes you feel like your kid is in good hands. She starts going around the room, having each parent introduce themselves and share something interesting about their family. Normal icebreaker stuff. Other parents are sharing things like, we just got back from camping, or we love to read together. Then it's my turn. I stand up, introduce myself, and I'm about to say something about how Tyler loves building with Legos when my kid jumps up from his seat in the back of the room. Oh, I know something interesting about my dad, Tyler announces to the entire room full of parents. I'm thinking he's going to say something cute, maybe about how we play catch in the backyard or how I make funny pancakes on weekends. I'm actually smiling, thinking this is going to be adorable. Tyler looks directly at Mrs. Wilson and says in the loudest voice possible, my dad talks to himself in the bathroom every morning and pretends he's on a talk show. The entire room goes completely silent. 25 parents are all staring at me. Mrs. Wilson's mouth is hanging open. I can feel my face turning bright red, but Tyler isn't done. Oh no, he's just getting started. He uses his toothbrush like a microphone and interviews himself about the weather and sports and stuff. Sometimes he does different voices for the other people on the show. Last week he was interviewing himself about our neighbor's dog, and he made this really high voice for the dog's owner. I'm standing there frozen, wanting to crawl under a desk. Parents are trying not to laugh, but I can hear a few snickers coming from somewhere behind me. Tyler continues, completely oblivious to the fact that he's destroying my reputation. And when he thinks no one can hear him, he practices conversations with his boss. He'll be like, well, Bill, I think we should consider my promotion. And then he changes his voice to be Bill and says, you're absolutely right. You deserve a raise. At this point, several parents are openly laughing. Mrs. Wilson is trying to keep it together, but I can see her shoulders shaking. But my son still isn't finished with his public execution of his father. Oh, and sometimes he sings songs but changes the words to be about our family. Like yesterday he was singing that song from Frozen, but instead of Let It Go, he was singing Let Me Poop really loudly. That did it. The entire room erupted in laughter. Parents are wiping tears from their eyes. Mrs. Wilson has completely lost her composure and is laughing so hard she has to sit down. I'm standing there like a deer in headlights trying to figure out how to recover from this complete character assassination by my own flesh and blood. Tyler looks around at all the laughing adults, clearly pleased that he's been such a hit, and adds one final nail to my coffin. And Mom says he's been doing this since before I was born, so it's probably not going to stop anytime soon. The laughter gets even louder. I can hear someone in the back row saying, this is the best back to school night ever. Mrs. Wilson finally composes herself enough to speak. Well, Tyler, that was certainly very informative. Thank you for sharing. She looks at me with this knowing smile and says, it sounds like you have a very creative morning routine, Mr. Davis. I'm sure that helps you start your day off on a positive note. I managed to stammer out something about kids having great imaginations, but the damage was done. For the rest of the evening, parents kept coming up to me asking about my talk show and whether I take requests for song parodies. The worst part was when I got home and confronted Tyler about it. I asked him why he thought it was okay to share private family information like that. He looked at me with complete innocence and said, but Dad, you told me I should always tell the truth and share interesting things about our family. I thought everyone would want to know how funny you are in the mornings. How do you argue with that logic? He was technically following my own parenting advice about honesty and sharing. The next morning, I caught myself starting my usual bathroom routine and realized Tyler was probably outside the door listening. So now I have to brush my teeth in complete silence like some kind of dental ninja because I know anything I do will end up being shared at the next school function. But honestly, the kid wasn't wrong. I do all of those things. I just never expected my private weird habits to become public knowledge thanks to my 8-year-old son's complete lack of filter. Now whenever I see other parents from his class, they ask me how my talk show is going and whether I've gotten that raise from Bill yet.